Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coast-to-Coast Combat Hour. I'm your host, Matthew Hawkins, and as always, I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Ed Carbajal. Ed, we got a UFC pay-per-view week. How's it going, my friend?
Pretty good. They're out in New York this week. They got the first bit of frost of the year this week, also in New York. So should be a good time. But just keep that in mind. Any folks flying in, you want to bring your warm stuff because it's that time of year out here.
It's definitely that time of year. It seems like the UFC's been lucky. The previous runs that they've had out there, they've actually been fairly good weather. I've been a couple of them, but I don't think historically they've been lucky. They haven't gotten any of these early chills coming through there. So definitely will be a different atmosphere if the weather's cold outside of MSG as opposed to the past. Some of the partying and shenanigans that could go on outside, I'm sure. If you're there with this card, you're still going to be enjoying it, though, because it is a good card. This is one of those top to bottom. They did it right here for New York. Some big names on the prelims. A lot of fights, a lot of good fights. So I think it's going to be an action-packed Saturday night for the UFC.
I do too. I don't know if the card is as trending as past UFC cards, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, I think it's just a weird time, and with the the ESPN is not everybody's favorite cup of tea right now when it comes to watching sports. So I think that might have something to do with folks not really hardcore fight fans not as into it as we normally are, but it's a good card, so let's bring it up. I'm curious to some of these odds because as I was writing they're not even on here, which maybe that's because of the whole gambling thing that's going on with the UFC.
Perhaps we finally just admit that that's all a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, really quick.
Explain Herb Dean though. I thought I was just watching somebody who was incompetent. Now I'm just figuring he probably was just taking $50 payoffs.
Maybe, but who knows? I mean, there's the undercard. It's weird because as I'm looking at I know the card, can't complain about the card, but for some reason I am more excited about the undercard than the main card. If you just really quick before we get into the main card, there's a lot of fighters on there that are like Angela Hills and Fatima Klein. Fatima Klein's out from, this is her neck of the woods, so she's like the local girl, and she's fighting the number 12 ranked strawweight in Angela Hill. So it could mean some elevation for her if she picks up a win, especially fighting out here in home base. Blanchfield versus Cortez is another fight that I'm excited about. It's funny. I know a lot of folks like to knock women's MMA, but I'm really more excited about this card, all the ladies fight on this card than the dudes.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that far, but there are some good fights. I mean, they are good fights. But the main card, when you get up to the top, handful of fights here. I mean, honestly, like 8 deep, going down to the Kopylov Gregory Rodriguez fight. There's not 2 world champions there, but I think 2 dudes who generally leave it all in the cage. And then you got Bo Nickel, who's an interesting situation here. Got to see how he rebounds from his first loss. It was to Ritter, so it wasn't like he lost to some garbage man off the couch. So we'll see how he rebounds. We've always you got to take a loss a lot of times to really figure out what you got in you and go back to the drawing board. And I mean, honestly, props to him just for getting back to the cage. We saw this take other fighters and other people that have been successful prior to the UFC a lot longer to rebound to get back in to fighting. So it's good to see him get back. And then you kick off the main card with Beneil Dariush versus Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis. I mean, it's a low key. That's a pretty damn good fight. It's one of those. It's an odd fight because Dariush is always that opponent that is you don't really know, but he just keeps pulling out victories. He got one from Moicano recently. And Denis is a killer who has his off nights as well. So I'm going with I picked Dariush in this fight. I'm just kind of going with the veteran, just kind of the guy who just seems to get it done. Doesn't seem to have too big of highs or too big of lows. Kind of keeps it, just keeps it kind of even keel when he's in the cage and does enough to win a lot of fights. And I just think he figures out a way to win this fight. I'm sure he's probably the underdog if we can see the odds, but yeah, I'm gonna go with him. I think he figures out a way to get it done.
Yeah, I gotta disagree with you on that one. I think he can. First of all, let me say that I think he can get it done. It's not because I think he's the worst fighter of the two or anything like that. I just feel like he's 36 right now, so he's kind of like at the end of his prime years, while Saint Denis is 29, coming off of 2 finishes. So I just for some reason I'm leaning towards him. I mean, I hate to say it as an old man, but I'm kind of leaning towards a younger guy in this fight. But I'm not going to be surprised if Dariush pulls it off again. The UFC doesn't have their DraftKings odds up because of the FBI shit going on with their gambling stuff. But yeah, I'll have to look those up later.
I think it's gonna be a good fight though. Next fight of the night: Leon Edwards, Carlos Prates. I mean, again, a really good fight. Edwards 2 losses in a row. Prates rebounded from his first UFC loss in his last fight, picking up a win. It's a tough fight. I think I'm going to go with Edwards. I know he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Again, I think he just uses I just think he figures out a way to get a win over the aggressive fighter.
Yeah, and he's definitely upset stuff before. However, it looks like you and I are going to be at odds on this one because I think Prates can pull it off. I just feel like I know Edwards was the champ and everything at one point, but he just never really impressed me. I'm outside of the Usman victory. There's just stuff that one of the losses he got is against Bilal Muhammad, who's a good fighter. A lot of people like to trash Muhammad, but it's like Muhammad was able to outwork him. So I'm wondering if he's got maybe needs a mental coach or something, but I don't think Prates does. So I'm picking Prates to win there.
Yeah, I mean, I see you. I'm kind of going with the same reason as Dariush. I just feel like his losses are Brady and Usman. I don't know. Prates still is. I'm still kind of on the fence with him. He's got 7 career losses. He had 6 of them outside the UFC. He's been finished a handful of times. I'm just wondering if there's a certain level that he's going to hit where guys he's not going to be able to, finish off, and then he's going to have some issues. But man, I think this is one of those things where it's either going to be the old guard stands or the new. The new guard starts to establish themselves in these first couple of fights. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm still going to stick with Edwards, but I think it's a very close fight. If Edwards loses, that's 3 in a row, and he's probably either looking I mean, at that point, he's probably kind of out of the picture for a while, if not forever, from top rankings. Next fight's another banger, man. Undefeated Michael Morales versus one-time beat Sean Brady. It's like a welterweight tournament we got going here. See, this is another tough one, man. I mean, both of them are upcoming. I'm going to go with Morales on this one. I'm going to go to the other side of the bracket. I'm going to go with Morales. Fun, exciting fighter. Brady's tough, coming off of a finish of Leon Edwards. But I'll go with Morales to win this fight. it's hard to say. I hope we get some finishes out of these because there's some spectacular potential finishers in these fights, but it's hard to see any of these guys necessarily getting finished as well. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have a method of victory, but I'll take Morales to win that fight. Another good fight, man. Just really, really run of some nice fights.
Yeah, this is the fight I actually have in my notes that I think could probably, at least from the main card, can put their, check a box for fight of the night just because of the where they're at in their careers, how hungry they both are. And I'm with you on this one because I got Michael Morales picked just because, and not that Brady's not a finisher, but Morales has more finishes. I think he's got more KO finishes in particular. So I like Morales. I just feel like if it's going to go to, these guys are definitely going to try to finish each other. I could see Morales, since he's got the higher rate of KOs, I could see him pulling one off here. Even though, Sean Brady's like the local guy, I gotta go with. I know there's no such thing as MMA math, but I got to go with the math on this one.
No, I get it. Next fight, women's title fight, super fight, flyweight championship. Valentina Shevchenko defends her title against Weili Zhang. Coming up in weight, hell of a fight. Probably the 1 and 2 pound for pound female fighters on the planet. I think Shevchenko wins this fight, and my reasoning mainly behind picking her is I think she's been waiting for a fight like this. I think she's been dominant and good for so long that she kind of got bored with some of her opponents. I honestly think that's probably kind of what led into some of the issues with Grasso, especially the first one where she may have taken her a little lightly. I think she may have gotten bored waiting for a super fight, waiting for the Amanda Nunes, to kind of fight again. I know she had that fight early in her career, but so I think she's going to likely to be. I feel like she's got something worth fighting for in this fight, not just another win, another ruby on her belt or whatever. But I feel like this is more of a legacy fight now, and I think that she has a chance to really show off being the bigger fighter. Weili had her run with Joanna. I feel like she kind of had her spotlight mega fight. So I don't know if she sees it maybe the same way, but I think Shevchenko, to me, this is the first super fight I can think of in her run in the UFC. So I see her taking this seriously, and I think we'll probably see the best Valentina we've seen in 3 or 4 years at least.
Yeah, I believe I have her picked to win too, even though I just want to what I wrote down here. It'll be in my newsletter. Anybody that subscribes to my newsletter, my notes, I just copy them into the newsletter for events. It's just for folks that haven't subscribed yet. So, yeah, I'm with her. That's yeah, November 25th, November 15th. I got to get that date fixed, but yeah, it's it could be. I think it could be anybody's fight. But I'm with you on Valentina. She's just she's dominant. I just don't think her dominance is going to end. She's always been kind of top of the food chain wherever she fights, and it doesn't seem like that's turning off for her anytime soon. I'm looking at the dimensions too on the UFC website, UFC.com's matchup page. Looks like she's got their reach advantage. I remember when I forgot what boxing match it was. I think it was the Terrence Crawford one against Canelo. When I talked with Daniel Zaldivar about that matchup and Crawford moving up in weight, and I thought I for some reason I thought that'd be a detriment. I don't think, at least in a live fight, because like fighters always feel better when they don't have to cut as much weight. So it looks like that's more the case than thinking on fight night the extra having to perform with the extra weight is an issue, because we all know they don't come in as what they weigh in as anyway on fight day. So yeah, Valentina's probably gonna go home with that belt. Main event:
Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. Great fight, super fight. Essentially champ versus champ. I know they stripped Islam. to make way for Topuria at lightweight, but I'm going with Islam. I'm going with Islam because I always pick the bigger fighters, and they always lose these fights. The smaller guys usually have the speed. I think, and I'm always gonna go with the submission. You know, mauling grappler from Dagestan until I see them just kind of get squashed, and we're moving on a long, long time without that really happening. So,
yeah,
I Jack, Magdalena won he won the title from Belial. I'm not saying he's not a worthy champion. He's obviously going to have to prove it if he picks up a win here, but I'm still a little bit unsure of him being a world champion level fighter. I know that's, sounds disrespectful, but I just feel like he kind of got a path that worked well for him to be able to get the title. He took advantage of it. He's won the fights, but I think Islam stops him here. I think I'm going to say like a mid to late third round, early fourth round stoppage, somewhere in that range. I think Islam is able to basically submit him, whether it's by punches or some kind of choke.
Yeah, I mean, Islam is not Khabib. I know he's part of that camp and the tree of Dagestani fighters that are connected to him, but his one loss is by knockout, and I know JDM probably has the ability to do it, but we'll know as soon as the fight starts if Makachev's able to impose his wrestling. It's gonna go exactly the way that you just said, and honestly, I don't see it not going that way. If it doesn't, I would be surprised. But you and I are on the same page with these last two, the main and co-main. Islam Makhachev, I think takes the W there.
I think it's going to be a good night of fights. Saturday night, November 15th, normal time, normal pay-per-view time. As we run the course for the Paramount deal to hopefully show up and give some relief to some of this. There's also a BKFC event that day. I think it starts a little bit earlier. It's actually out here in my neck of the woods. I haven't decided if I'm going to go, but new champ Dyer versus old champ Lorenz Hunt, main event, really good fight. Aspen Ladd makes her BKFC debut. So that'll also be going on Saturday. So definitely a lot of fights on Saturday, and but this UFC card's pretty loaded. This would be one that I tell people to watch.
Yeah.
When that happens, nowadays I feel like you take advantage of it and you enjoy a fight card start to finish.
Yeah, and there is something to be said about when they come to the Garden. Not to flex on my own local area arena, that big time arena, but they haven't. I don't think they've put a card on that's disappointed since they've been coming here, since UFC 205, since the ban has been lifted. Granted, I expected different things out of them in the sport since the ban was lifted. Didn't really pan out the way that I thought it would, but there is still something about fight night at the Garden and having it be mixed martial arts that it should be special. I feel like it'll be trending. I haven't looked at the ticket sales. I know they weren't too hot last again, but the prices are outrageous. Things are outrageous right now. But it should be fun, man. Once the first bell goes off, the fights get going, I think folks will be on the edge of their seats.
I agree. I think it's going to be a good night. I wish the UFC would get back to the promotion, really bringing to light that this is at MSG. And I feel like there used to be a little bit more glitz and glamour around these, which made them feel more special.
Yeah.
And some of that feels like it's died down. You mentioned earlier in the show, hardcore fans not paid attention as much, but I kind of feel like it goes along with ownership. You kind of go with what Dana, as much as we might clown on Dana White and stuff. If he's really excited for stuff or coming out, then it definitely helps lead to that. When he's talking about slap fight views and stuff, it can really make it easy to kind of tune out and just be like, well, if it's not on his priority list, why do I want to spend my money to be a part of it. So we'll see. Great fight. I think it's going to be a good night of fights. Till then, follow the show at Combat Hour on Twitter, Coast to Coast Combat Hour on Instagram. Follow me, Matt Hawkins, at Fight Fan Hawk on Twitter, MMA Hawk 21 on Instagram. Follow Ed at Carbizol on Twitter, Carbirzol on Instagram, Old Head Carb on Twitch, and check Amazon to buy his books, which he is not looking at right now, as they're all over the place. So check it out on Amazon. Ed Carbajal, author. Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy the fights this week and stay safe.
Peace, everybody.